everything changes in LA because it never rains. And apparently it was hailing somewhere. Where was that? Yesterday, 2 days ago in like Pasadena or something crazy. So it says that it is streaming, but I am not seeing it landing anywhere. So let me know that you're watching and where you're watching, because this should be pushing through to YouTube and to Facebook and also to bonniegillespie.com/live. And right now it is showing up as landing nowhere. So I'm not quite sure what's up with that. Let's see. Why is it saying error? I don't like that one. Why are you giving me errors, Restream? All right, let's close this. Let me see if I launch the chat again, if it will allow it to land. Did you know Mercury's going to be retrograde very shortly? No shocker there about all the goodies that are happening prior to Mercury retrograde. Yep, it is definitely not showing up as connected. All right, so let me see, because this is how I get to see the chat. Like, I had no topic for today, which means I started live streaming going, I'll just answer questions. And I can't answer questions if I can't see questions. So that may be like just Mercury retrograde wins, tap out. Ow, that was loud to me. So I know that had to be loud to the microphone. All right, well, this is interesting. Okay, let me see what I can do with my settings. I'm going to log out, yes, and log back in to my chat window here and see if it helps. Now, what is my login? Here we go. Hold, please. What is that? Hold, please. I know this is so riveting, right? Let's see. Invalid password. Awesome. Awesome. Mercury, you're hilarious. All right, then. How about that one? How about that one? Okay, it says there are viewers. It says it's connected now. Someone try and comment me now. And let's see if my aggregator shows. It does. Sherion! Yay! Hello. Thank you. Okay. Mercury is not subtle. Sherion is watching from Chicago. How are you, darling? It's good to see you. And that means I do have a comment coming through at Facebook. I don't see any from YouTube or the live page yet, but hopefully someone will comment and let me know that that is coming through. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. I know, like, crazy time with Mercury retrograde starting up in 2 days, or is it tomorrow? When is Mercury retrograde? Is it tomorrow? Check your phone, my husband says. Why do I need to? YouTube is preventing chat from embedding. Thanks, honey. Okie doke. And Lenka says it's through. Lenka is commenting at YouTube. So, good. Keith, double check that after I just did the login. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. This may be a super short live stream because tech is trying to be glitchy town. Good. You're over at Facebook, coming in from Taos. Hello, Sam. Good to see you, Lisa. Hi, Allison. Anna Maria. Always good to see you, sweetheart. Did I say hi to Jamie and Caroline? I think I did. And Lenka, thank you for confirming that it's coming through. I don't know, y'all. You know, I kept going. I usually have a topic for live stream. I usually come up with what it is that I want to like riff on. And I thought about what I did on the Bond Blast earlier this week, but I'm also like, I'm so used to showing up at Clubhouse now that it's like I just go in at Clubhouse and it's like, what questions do y'all have? What do y'all want to talk about? And then I just kind of go with it. Hang on, Keith is sending me more messages. Apparently I have to look at my phone because Keith is gonna not stop pounding me with messages. Okay. So now I have to look at this picture, Keith. Honey, it's fine. You know, you're also having Firefox problems, so this could be you. Anyway, I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. We may just call this done. And this was a of a live stream. Hello, Sam. Good to see you in all caps. Thanks for saying hello. Tell me what's going on with y'all, because Mercury going retrograde this weekend in Aquarius, with already so much in Aquarius, with the full moon last night. There's a lot happening energetically, astrologically, and that was something I brought, like, all my astrological stuff in case anybody wanted to talk astrology, because my God, there is so much going on with the planets right now and just with life, you know. And so I went, I'm not even gonna prep a topic. And I know that's like the worst idea ever, except now I'm really glad, because if I had prepped a topic and was like, okay, I have handouts, I have slides, I have like this whole big plan, and then tech went wonky, I would be way more upset. So anyway, yeah, Caroline, definitely there is, let's talk about it a little bit just from the planets of it all. If you go to planetwatcher.com right now, that shows you where the planets currently are. And that's always true. Like that site is, I think, my homepage when I launch Firefox on my laptop over here. Hang on. Yep, it's Planet Watcher. Okay, so right now, if you look at Planet Watcher, we have Mercury in Aquarius. We have the Sun in Aquarius. We have Jupiter in Aquarius. We have Saturn in Aquarius. We will very soon have Venus in Aquarius, and then also the Moon in a couple of weeks. That is 6 out of the 7 visible / traditional astrological placements and planets all in the same sign. And Aquarius is a fixed sign, and it doesn't like to be fixed because it's an air sign. So it's rooted and stubborn, but also very frenetic. And so the energy of the astrology right now is very stuck, but wanting to be wild and free. And so that combination of energies is a little frenetic and a little frustrating. Sam says, I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything. So Sam, I'm going to ask you to, instead of looking at the macro, can you look at the micro? What is something that you accomplished today? You got out of bed, you turned on your computer, or you are still in bed and you rolled over and turned on your phone and flicked it up to get to this. Like let's look at the micro rather than the macro, because when we speak in absolutes like that, that's really intense self-talk. And that intensity of I'm not accomplishing anything, even though we know we're being hyperbolic, we know we're exaggerating, our brains hear that, and on some level we start to feel like we are failing about a thing. So just gentler language. Yeah, Caroline says it just feels off. Lenka says we have a Snowmageddon here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Lenka, it's just better to be offline sometimes. It really is. It's true. And Sam, so I have Sam K, Sam J. Sam J says, I have a ton of energy gaining traction in the voiceover universe. Right on, Sam. That's fantastic. So much Aquarius, all the air, says Stephanie. I know we're all going to learn what it's like to be Sarah, because she's got all the Aquarius. Elaine, hi, good to see you. Elaine says, hi, Bonnie, it's good to see you. I have a silly question that you think I'd know by now, but when a casting notice says $120 or $150 guaranteed, what kind of casting is that? Is it code for something to avoid, a student production? No, Elaine, if it's a union project, it's saying that it is using the lowest possible paid budget for a union contract. And so it's capping it. It's just saying that you will get this, and they would like for you to be able to get more if they get a bigger budget, but they're not going to guarantee that. I don't think it's code for something to avoid. It's just Elaine, knowing you, it may be something that you are above that tier now, and you may need to renegotiate your no line and just decide that it's time to not do projects that are at that budget level. Hi, Katie. Good to see you. Yes, Sam, absolutely. My pleasure. Sam K. I know I have a couple of Sams. My forte, I don't know. There's a lot of shit I'm good at, but my forte is taking self-talk that is extra punishing and turning it just a little softer so that we can, so much of the time we feel like somebody's stepping on our neck already. We need to not be the one stepping on our own neck. And sometimes our self-talk is not doing us any favors. And so I am a big fan of just turn that dial a little softer. Like, let's not blast the hardcore music at ourselves, and instead just like go a little easy listening on the self-talk every now and then, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. Hi, Andy. Good to see you. Carla says, I feel off and I don't like it. Yeah, I know. You're welcome, Elaine. My pleasure. And Anna Maria says, I can feel the heavy energy. It's kind of blocking my flow in some moments. I feel like I'm in slow motion. So let's talk about when the energy is going to shift a little bit. So here's the good news about tomorrow, as weird as it is, Mercury goes retrograde tomorrow, which is not usually good news. It means that, like, right now you need to make sure you've backed up everything, make sure you have double checked everything, check the time on stuff. It may be too late. You know, when Mercury is going retrograde in an air sign, it is extra, man, because Mercury rules communication. It rules, like, Mercury is the planet of how we think, how we learn, how we communicate, how we take in information, and how we disseminate information, which is why things like travel and technology get snagged during Mercury retrograde, because that's all stuff that we use to communicate and to travel our mind and our bodies around. So when Mercury is going retrograde in an air sign, it is extra. It's just extra. I don't even have to finish that sentence. It's extra. And the reason it's extra is because that air component of how we communicate, and how, especially with our technology and so much of it being, you know, cloud-based and Wi-Fi, is like we're communicating through air signs already, and then Mercury goes retrograde and everything just gets extra wonky. So give yourself a lot of patience, a lot of grace, a lot of extra time for all the things. But tomorrow numerologically is a 9-day. And on a 9-day, we can let shit go. Tomorrow is a great day for decluttering. We move into a Virgo moon tomorrow. Actually, for like tomorrow at midnight. So as soon as it turns tomorrow in LA time, we go into a Virgo moon, which is fantastic for listy things and healing things. Actually, Virgo's really great at healing. But anything that's checklisty, anything that's feeling like I got shit to do, Virgo moon will help you get that stuff done. But especially because it's a 9 numerologically tomorrow, it's a great time to declutter. So spend your energy on stuff like that. Let's see. Kate wants to know how long the retrograde will last. Mercury goes direct on February 20th. So like almost the whole month of February. Like seriously, starting the 30th. So it's like now, Mercury goes retrograde in a few hours, and Mercury will be in retrograde for almost all of February. Because even though it goes direct on the 20th of February, we still have the shadow. So, of course, you can ask a question about headshots, Iram. I have no agenda today. We can talk about anything. You tell me what you want to talk about. Using that Leo moon to do all the promoting today. Amelia, correct. Correct. Leo moon, especially under an 8 numerologically today, great day to promote. Great day to get yourself out there, your face out there, your message out there. Just promote it. Promote it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yes. Awful internet connection last couple of days, says Kate. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of things where, like, just text failing and stuff is like Keith is sending me screenshots of stuff that's not working at a website, and it's like, nothing is surprising me. Nothing is surprising me right now. I know, Tanya, we got lots of interesting energy with the Mercury retrograde so much of February. Let's talk about what Mercury retrograde is good for. And then, Jamie, I'll get to your monologue question. Here's what Mercury retrograde is great for. Just think of the R-E, at the front of retrograde. Anything that you are reviewing, revisiting, reconsidering, redoing. Like, Mercury retrograde is great at the re's. So revisit something you've already done, and it's a great time to edit. Like, if you have created something, like when I was writing self-management for actors, I would use Mercury retrograde as a period to reread everything with a more critical eye, so I could decide what to lose, because you are better at revisiting things under Mercury retrograde. It's a great time to just go through and assess what things are working and what aren't working, what things are working, what things are not working, and redo some stuff. It's a great time to revisit old things and to close things off. You'll find that exes like to reach out during Mercury retrograde. It's so weird. It's just, it happens. Just check the DMs. You'll see it. It's bizarre. Jamie says, any tips on preparing a monologue for Clubhouse? Is 1 minute too short or too long? Jamie, I don't know that there's a certain time that's too short or too long. The last one of those Clubhouse monologue jam thingies that I attended, I know that there were some that were like 45 seconds, and then there were some that came close to 2 minutes. It does start to feel long once we're over like 90 seconds, just because since it's audio only, we really are paying attention with that one sense, and the brain not having anything else for the other senses that is related to that monologue. does start to wander. So I would say if you could keep it to a minute, you're going to be in a sweet spot where just the human brain won't wander as much. But play with it, and also listen as other people are doing monologues on Clubhouse, and find when you feel yourself starting to wander. Because what you want to do is present us with something that really resonates and leaves us feeling like, I want to see this person. I so enjoyed hearing this person that now I want to see this person. And so what is the sweet spot for that? Probably leave us wanting more. Amanda says the captions can't keep up with you. I'm afraid to ask. I noticed once, because sometimes I go in and try to clean up the captions after in Facebook, because you can, adjust them if they got something wrong. And so there was this time that I was talking about the population of thirds, and it was getting some of the words wrong that I was like, this is important. Like, this is going to be a popular video. I want to make sure that the words are correctly captured. And one of them, Amanda, I have a screen grab of where I said, for fuck's sake. And in for fuck's sake, it said for Fox's sake. And I was like, that's forevermore what I think of now when I say for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. It's a for fuck's sake. Okay, Aram says, I know you're supposed to get new headshots when you change your look, like get a new haircut or color. My last headshots were 2 years ago, where my hair had blonde highlights. Now it's more of a coppery brown. Cool. It's not a huge change, but I'm wondering if I should still get new headshots, especially because I live in a small town where there aren't really any headshot photographers for actors. So Aram, here's what I use rather than my look has changed. It's, has your vibe changed? Has your castability changed? Are you in a different type category? It has your castable brand shifted because of those 2 years and that color change. And if the answer is, oh yeah, it actually puts me in a different category, it actually connects me with different kind of roles, it has me feeling like a different essence when I do like a typing survey off of a snapshot or a silent video. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just go to Lenka will put the link in the chat, but it's if you just Google Bonnie Gillespie brand survey, I have a post at my website that has a tutorial on how to do a castable brand survey, and also a workbook on how to do a castable brand survey. And you can do a castable brand survey even without having current headshots. You just use a silent vid, really short, like non-speaking, just here's who I am and here's how I present in the room, and get feedback. And if it is very different from the feedback you got from your headshot, then you know that you might need to change your headshot. But I don't worry so much about like hair length, or even like with guys, facial hair, not facial hair, glasses, no glasses, curly, straight. Like, I don't worry about that so much in headshots, and I think most buyers don't worry that much about that kind of stuff, unless your brand has shifted, like how you get cast has shifted. So that's what I would look at. Andy says, still having trouble promoting my web series on YouTube. Andy, what kind of trouble? Get specific. What kind of trouble are you having? Let's see if we can fix it. JR wants to know, there's a Clubhouse monologue jam? There are many, JR. There are many. I try to put all the Clubhouse events that I am attending in my events calendar. If you go to bonniegillespie.com/events, I keep them posted there when I know in advance. Sometimes Clubhouse is just, I jump on and, because that's the nature of Clubhouse, is just jump on and be there. But the Clubhouse monologue jams specifically get scheduled in advance, and actors are made aware that they will be performing, and casting directors and agents and managers and directors and showrunners and producers are brought in as special guests. And we do Q&A for usually an hour, 90 minutes before the monologue jam starts. But yeah, those are happening regularly, and it's amazing. I wasn't able to post it because the actor who did the monologue couldn't get permission from the writer to share the actual video, but he did a video of the monologue that he had done on audio only at Clubhouse and sent it to me so that I could see him and see his work, not just hear it. And it's amazing how captivating an audio only monologue can be. It's really interesting. I'm very excited for the ways that Clubhouse is helping us do some stuff differently. KD says, do you have any wisdom to share about self-producing showreel footage in plague times? Yes, KD, you want to take a look at material that is already out there where clearly someone is not in a scene with multiple people. And if we are cheating, we're doing it like just a rough over the shoulder shot, and that over the shoulder is also you. Like there are plenty of examples out there of actors who are shooting their stuff alone, but editing it together in such a way as it makes us feel as though that is a legitimate scene with another person. That other person just happens to be you because we're just seeing your back. But choose monologue style material, meaning it doesn't have to be monologue delivered, but it needs to feel like you have the majority of the lines, which of course, based on editing, you could have that even if you had a scene where you had lots of back and forth. But I would say first, Katie, take a look at what is already being done and what, when you look at it, makes you go, ooh, yeah, that's good. Because, and you know what, Katie, this may be a really good thread at the Facebook group. If you come into the Self-Management for Actors Facebook group and start a thread saying who can share some footage that's out there that's clearly one person shot this alone during quarantine times, and I'm looking for some inspiration. I think you'll find some people who don't read what you asked, and they'll just drop a link to their demo reel. And I know actors get so upset when I say it, but y'all actors cannot read. Ninjas can read, actors cannot read. You know the difference. But anyway, but I think that'd be a great thread for the Facebook group, because I think we'll get some really good examples of that. And Sam has a question. Sam K has a question. Is there a good house time for casting director workshops? Currently in my 7th house. Sam, 7th house, the sun is in your 7th house is what you mean here. I'm assuming based on our conversation at the end of last year in how to predict what kind of energy you're going to have throughout your 2021. Good job. 7th house is partnering. 7th house is great for an agent, for a manager, for a romantic partner, a business partner. Any 7th house is one-to-one relationships. And also if you're someone who works with clients one-on-one, if like you're a personal trainer and you want to work with an individual, like 7th house is a great time for all of that. So casting director workshops, I guess we could kind of put in that world, although you're not looking for a casting director to partner up with you. You are still looking at them as partners in putting an endeavor of yours forward, partners in your creative collaboration in general, your creative life in general. I would think that 10th house is going to be a really good time. 11th house can also be really good. 1st house, fantastic. 3rd house, very good. 5th house, the best. Yeah, that covers it. How's that? Yay. Yeah, Andy, I need you to get specific. Not enough viewers, I understand. I need you need to get specific on what are you doing. You're saying I'm still having trouble promoting my web series on YouTube. I asked you to get specific and you said not enough viewers. I'm like, yes, I understand you want more viewers. What are you doing that is not working so that we can get under the hood and figure that out? Aram says that's very helpful. Thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, I was just not sure if casting directors would be bothered that my hair was more blonde in a headshot and I came with copper hair. Nah. Aram, as long as your essence is still the same, we know hair changes. Our hair changes. Like, don't stress. Yeah, for sure, JR, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Lenka. Yeah, the guide itself is actually in the article. So just go to the article so that you can watch the video and see the tips, and also grab that PDF. Fabulous. Thank you. Andy, okay, how to get it out there without spending a fortune on a social media person. Oh, social media is just one way to get the word out. You certainly don't have to spend money on a social media person in order to get eyeballs on it. Andy, I don't know what you've tried so far. Again, it would be super helpful if you would share what you've tried so far. And I know I'm behind in the comments, so you may have by now. But the thing that you want to do is take a look at similar series and how they have caught on and where is it that they have leaned into success. And so for some, that's going to be getting distribution. That's going to be going to festivals. That's going to be submitting to contests. For some, it is going to be social media. For some, it's going to be they have a great hashtag that has gotten people excited. Some people get together in a pod. They like, we do this a lot with the Getting Gear for the Next Tier. We have a whole bunch of people who are doing our 100 days right now, for Getting Gear for the Next Tier. And we've got, in fact, if you want to do Getting Gear for the Next Tier, if you join us today up till tomorrow morning, like this time. This is cutting it real close. If you wait till this time tomorrow, we can get you in before our Zoom. We're doing a live Q&A Zoom tomorrow. And so if you have been wanting to do the 100 days and you want to do it with a group that's going through mostly together, although by the time we are at this part of January, we've already had people fall way behind, and we're constantly like, you're not behind, you're not behind, you're right where you're meant to be. You're always right where you're meant to be. But if you've been wanting to join us, we usually have registration closed. Like if you go to any of the sales pages for Getting Gear for the Next Tier, registration is currently closed, enrollment is closed, but I can get you a link to join us. I'll say it. I don't have it on my screen. No, I can't do an overlay of this one because I don't have it's a secret link, but it's bonniegillespie.com/offer. So if you go to bonniegillespie.com/offer, you can get in on Getting Gear for the Next Tier and join us in time to be with us on the live Q&A tomorrow. But we have people who are in the current round of Getting Gear for the Next Tier who are doing accountability pods. They are working together in small groups and doing things like, let's follow each other, let's promote each other, let's come up with a hashtag strategy. Let's work together to help get one another's content out in the world. Another thing, Andy, is take a look at where you are using tags at YouTube that match with the kinds of tags that pull up things in the suggested sidebar. Here's what I mean by that. There's a fantastic method of getting your stuff to show up in the sidebar as suggested next content on popular vids. And what that is you create playlists. You, for your channel, create playlists that include a very popular video from someone whose audience should be the same as yours, and then another popular video from someone else's audience that should be the same as yours. So you don't go pick like Oprah's most popular video unless your audience is exactly Oprah's audience. And obviously at some point we could say everybody is Oprah's audience. So that's not niche enough. I want you to really get specific on something that your show is about that could benefit from someone who already has a lot more eyeballs for exactly your niche, exactly your vibe, exactly your style. And then create a playlist that includes one of their videos, another video of somebody else's that's also within that niche. So we're teaching the algorithm, these are the things that my video is like, and then put one of your videos on that playlist. Just by creating that playlist, you have taught YouTube to associate these videos together. And over time, your video will show up as suggested in some of those people's videos of the same ilk. And that is one of the most ninja moves I've seen on being able to boost your viewership. But also, Andy, ask yourself, like, is this seriously the top level of my work that I'm like ready for? Like, this is festival ready. Like, are you submitting it to festivals? Oh, Andy has given me more. Promoting it on Facebook and Instagram, trying to get friends to view, subscribe, and share, but not much luck. Yeah, but Andy, your friends may not be your target audience. Like, my friends, I would say half of my friends are my target audience for the work that I do with show business stuff, with woo-woo stuff, with enoughness stuff, like about half. The other half, they don't need to be on my mailing list. They don't need to be showing up for my live streams. They don't need to buy my book. They don't need to be enrolled in my courses because it's not relevant to them. So why getting your friends to view, subscribe, and share? Like, are your friends the target audience? They may not be. So it may actually not benefit you to have your friends and family trying to help. You know, like, you need people who are aligned with the message and the vibe and the breadcrumbs you're trying to drop down that path toward your true north. Get those folks involved. Yep. Cool, Katie. Thank you. I don't know what all the smiley faces laughs are because now I have no idea what I said that made people laugh, but good. I'm glad. Lenka says, okay, Lenka has dropped the link for how to join us for Getting Gear for the Next Tier. Remember that if you want to join us before, let's say 23 hours from now, we can get you in time to join our live Q&A tomorrow. So you will get to all caught up. Hello, Jenny. It's good to see you. Fabulous. Great, Andy. Modern Golden Girls. Great opportunity to tap into that older market, that demographic. Very definitely may not be your same friend group, but it could be. And if it is, then yes, lean on them. But also just know that there comes a time when I had to decide, Perfect example. We were still in the third edition of Self-Management for Actors, and we were going to crowdfund the fourth edition of Self-Management for Actors. Bum, bum, because so much had changed between the third edition and the fourth edition that I didn't want to assume that people still wanted a printed book. I was like, we may be done. We may be done with printed books. People may not actually want printed books anymore. Time has shifted. Time has changed. The times have changed so much that maybe I need to not assume people want a printed book. So I created an Indiegogo campaign for the fourth edition and just said, everybody who pre-purchases at this dollar amount gets a physical book. If you pre-purchase at this amount, you get a digital version of the book. And we're going to let the market tell us what it is that they want. And I think that it's so valuable to get people to let us know where it is that what we've created falls. And you want to be really sure, especially Andy, going after your friends and family and getting them to back something of yours. Make sure, because that's what you're asking. Like, obviously with the book Self-Management for Actors, we were getting people to pre-purchase using a Kickstarter like Indiegogo campaign. Those types of things exist still. GoFundMe is a popular one as well. Like, there's so many now ways that you can do that, but this was not quite a decade ago. There are so many ways to get people to vote with their dollars or with their likes or with their follows or with their shares or whatever. But you also want to be really sure that it aligns with who you want to buy your goods, and in my case, this book. So it's like I could go out to friends who have like huge followings for completely different reasons. Like, I have friends who are journalists, I have friends who are famous for completely non-showbiz reasons, that I could say, could you put this out in front of your audience? And it's like, what does that do? How does that help me? Their audience doesn't care about this, and that actually erodes their audience understanding of who they are. Like, it's a really tricky thing to ask people to share, because they'll share if they're motivated to share. If it's fantastic and they love it, they can't shut up about it. It's like every time we read a book that we can't wait to tell people about, or we see a movie that we can't wait to tell people about, or we try a new product that we're so excited about we can't stop talking about it. Just trust and get in front of people who are working to get the word out together. Like, this is another reason that you could use, yes, a pod like what I'm talking about with Getting Gear for the Next Tier, but also even at the Facebook group. Andy, I'll ask you, have you come in to the Self-Management for Actors Facebook group on Saturday, when every stinking week we have a thread for you to self-promote? And have you dropped the link in that self-promo thread? More importantly, have you been of service in the group all week long, so people have come to know you and trust you, and they love who you are and how you serve the community with tips and encouragement and cheering one another on? So when you promote in the Self-Promo Saturday group, they cannot wait to go see what you've created. That's what I would ask. Like, it's not that how do I get more people to look at my web series is a very results-oriented me kind of thing, which trust me, I understand. We create things and then we go, why is nobody looking at my thing? But when we come from a place of service to the community, people can't not look at your stuff. Like, they're so motivated to look at your stuff no matter what. And I would just maybe have a different energy around that and see if that helps. Matthew, I've been out of the industry for 17 years. I miss it and I'm looking to get back in, looking to start up my branding survey. My look has completely changed with age. Is it absolutely necessary to start with a pro headshot, or is a good homemade headshot sufficient? Also, smile or don't smile. Matthew, welcome back to the industry. A lot has changed in 17 years. The smile or don't smile, do what's on brand. But honestly, if you don't yet have a headshot, I would go to that link that Lenka has shared in the Facebook chat here. And I will say it out for those who are watching this in other places. It's BonnieGillespie.com/yourcastable brand and type survey, but each of those words has a hyphen or a dash between it. If you just Google Bonnie Gillespie brand survey, you'll land on it. Go there and notice that one of the things, Matthew, that I suggest in that, absolutely my pleasure, Andy. I'm so excited for you, and I'm very hopeful that this will help energize your show and your connecting with people in a really organic and and prosperous way. Matthew, if you go to that castable brand survey training that I have for free on my website, you'll notice that one of the things I suggest is, instead of a headshot, just be on video, doing just a silent, like, here I am, like you could do like you would in a Slate where you're showing your profiles, just to let people answer the survey questions off you and your presence and what that feels like to be in the room, which I know we're all doing virtually these days. But that is what I recommend, rather than using a snapshot or a homemade headshot or anything like that, and certainly not shooting new headshots yet. Get the type and brand survey data off you in the room, which the closest way we do that right now is with that silent video. So I would do that. Yeah, cool. Yeah, do that, get that feedback. And then if you want to shoot some kind of headshot, whether it's professional or self-shot, doesn't matter, and then survey that like a month later and see if it is hitting all the same kinds of words, then that allows you to see if you've created a headshot that aligns with what you in the room get. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Other questions? In our totally random, totally tech glitchy, raining in Santa Monica, so I feel cozy, and I seriously stayed in bed. Like, I was supposed to be up hours ago, but it's raining. The sun did not come up. Feeling so cozy with my man in that bed, and I just said I'm staying in bed. And usually Keith gets up at like sunrise and goes out and exercises out in the world. A crazy person. I'm usually going to bed around 5 or 6 a.m. and Keith is usually getting up at 6 or 7 a.m. and starting his day. And he was still in bed next to me when I woke up and went, "Ooh, it's time. I'm supposed to be getting up." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Keith is still in bed too." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not leaving bed." So Carla says, "I wanted to get your perspective on this. In one of the clubhouse rooms, a casting director said that when you slate, always slate as the character. Do you think that helps getting the job, or is it better to have them know your authentic personality?" Yeah, that's horrible advice, Carla. I have no idea who said that, but no, don't slate as the character. Do not slate as the character. The slate is, in fact, the opportunity for us to see who you are, not in character. The audition with the sides is in character. You don't slate in character. No, that's some bullshit right there. So here's what you do with that. Here's what you do with that, Carla. You have a show Bible. If you don't have a show Bible, Google Bonnie Gillespie Show Bible. You know from Self-Management for Actors that your show Bible is your relationship management tool. It is your document about how people, who the people are that are going to be in your showbiz story and how they prefer you do certain things. Open your show Bible, whether that's a document or Excel spreadsheet, or you're using Evernote or Airtable or whatever you like. Open that person who you heard say that crazy thing on Clubhouse, and note, this crazy person wants me to slate in character. Put that there, because that's the only thing you learned from that, was that one person thinks that's a good idea. It's a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea. Melissa at YouTube says, "Love your advice on all things showbiz. Thank you." And woo-woo. Yay, Melissa. "I'm a Kiwi British actor living in London. Apart from learning a general American accent, what other US accents could be helpful to add to an actor's toolkit?" So Melissa, I don't know if it falls the same for Kiwi as it does for Kiwi, for those of you like, what issue, that's New Zealand. For those, if I don't know if it falls the same for a New Zealand sound as it does for most of Eastern Australia, but I would assume it's kind of in the same ballpark. The easiest American accent to get is our southern states, our southeast tongue, the dialect of like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. That kind of sound is going to be easiest for that ear. Because you already have a lot of things for sure in Southern Australia. So I'm going to assume New Zealand is closer to Eastern Australia than to Western, because I know it gets a little different over there at Perth. But I believe you're going to have your ear already tuned, and also living in London, you'll be able to do anything. But I think the easiest one to pick up is probably going to be the Southeast Southern sound. So maybe start with that. I think that could be really good to add to your actor's toolkit, and then just, branch out from there. It's good to have a whole bunch that you can pull from, but I have noticed that folks who are from your part of the world tend to do really well with a Southern accent. Okay, Katie says, "Wait, can you explain your sleep schedule? I think I explained it incorrectly to my boyfriend, who was very impressed regardless." So Katie, lately I've been sleeping twice a day for like 3 hours. So for some reason, this time of year, like winter time for us here in the States, I have been doing like, I'll just be so sleepy around 7 o'clock at night, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I'll go to sleep, and then I wake up at midnight, and I'm like, oh, I'm awake, or I'll wake up at 11, and I'm like, oh my God, now it's time to be going to sleep. And so then I'll stay up and work all night. And then I will find myself getting sleepy again around the time the sun's coming up, like 6, 7 a.m. And I don't have my first appointment until 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I will sleep again. So that's my schedule. But it changes. What I do is I listen to my body. I listen to my body, Katie. That's what I do. I absolutely listen to my body. What my body is telling me is, and what my brain is telling me is, it's now time for rest, so I get rest. And when my body is telling me it's time to be up, like I'm all twitchy and awake and my brain is very active and busy, I don't force myself to stay in bed just because it's hours that most people would think I need to stay in bed. That's part of why I built my own damn empire, was so I don't have to keep to corporate schedules. I don't have to keep to patriarchal values. I can absolutely sleep when I am feeling like I need to sleep. Yeah, I don't worry about what it means that my sleep is different from everybody else's. I used to, 20 years ago when Keith first came into my life, I was crazy upset that I could not make myself sleep with him. Like I would force myself to go to bed with him, or I would force him to stay up later with me. And then I would be so mad and so twitchy in bed all night, not wanting to be in bed. And I would cry because I was like, I'm going to mess up our relationship because I can't sleep with you during the hours that you want to sleep. And Keith was like, you got to get over that. Just because we're unconscious together does not make us a better couple. Like, it's fine. Sleep when you sleep. And he basically gave me permission to lean into the sleep that I naturally want to get. And that's kind of my superpower. Brandon, just discovering my midheaven is in Cancer, and it's so heartwarming. Brandon, that means you serve the world. You make people feel held and safe and nurtured. Your career is about making sure that people feel seen and heard and safe and nurtured, and that your higher calling involves being fiercely protective of people as well. That Cancer midheaven is really nice. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. Melissa says, amazing. Thank you. Noted. Great. Awesome. Stephanie says, wow, great question and cool tidbits about New Zealand to U.S. dialect bond. Stephanie, I'm guessing about the New Zealand being similar to East Coast of Australia. I'm assuming, because I've worked with many very high tier actors from Australia. Some of our highest tier ninjas are Australians, but you wouldn't know it because you never hear them using their natural accent. Yeah, I'm just assuming based on where it is geographically that New Zealand would sound closer to that side of Australia. I don't know. I'm going to find out. I'm supposed to be in New Zealand this year. I was supposed to be in New Zealand last year, but 2020 had other plans. But I'm supposed to be in Sydney, and I was supposed to go to Tasmania, but they're not doing Tasmania as a part of this year's version of the cruise. It's an Abraham Hicks cruise that we're going on. Awesome. Kate says, thanks, Laurie, have to run. Bonnie, but I'll take it. Because I know Lori, you're probably thinking Lori Records, and one of my best friends, so that's totally fine. Katie says, my body's like, come to the 12-hour coma, sweet child, and I listen. Good, Katie, you should. If your body is telling you that's how much fuel it needs, or how much restorative sleep and rest and time away from big brain stuff it needs in order to be the most fabulous, most tuned in, most big brain version of yourself, give it that and find out what happens. Melissa says, this full moon is deep. Are we sure it's in Leo? It feels like it's in Cancer, according to me, a Scorpio. Okay, well, so Melissa, because you're a Scorpio, everything always feels deep, just from jump. But here's why this full moon feels so big. It is because we are coming off of so much being in Capricorn and now shifting into Aquarius. This is that whole, the great conjunction that we had with Saturn and Jupiter being visible and moving into Aquarius and conjuncting right there in early degrees Aquarius. All of that with Pluto has been in Capricorn for all of 2020, but also for a few years in the case of Saturn. And so there's just been a lot that has felt heavy. And so moving over into these fixed air signs, Aquarius is a fixed air sign. There's this fixedness of Leo as well. And that fixedness is great, but as we know, Leo is a fire sign and it wants to roar and it wants to be seen. The big emotions that I think we're feeling, honestly, I'm going to take it out of astro and just say it's because we have all been in an abusive relationship with a flaming narcissist Cheeto, a toenail of a human called 45 for 5 years. Like even before he was president, we have been abused by this person. And I think that just being able to, it's like the Who's in Whoville when they come out at the end, like they wake up in the morning and they come out and their eyes are bright and it's like there's music and shining and everything feels so beautiful even though all their stuff's been stolen by the Grinch. I feel like that's us emerging after this era of Trump. And so I think that the full moon is a release of stuff that started 6 months before. And so I think this full moon yesterday in particular feels especially deep because we're releasing stuff that includes a lot of trauma. And for many, 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 many of us, the trauma of Trump has been re-traumatizing childhood trauma where we were told, shut up, you're too sensitive, we were gaslit, you don't feel what you feel, that's bullshit, everything you say you're feeling is a lie. Like just so much of that got re-traumatized during the Trump era that I think that the full moon is closing off 6 months ago when we didn't know if we were going to actually be able to get rid of Trump or not. And so there's this amazing relief, but also this depth of how all that has felt for so many of us. And even people who were on Trump's side, first of all, I have questions, but I don't care enough to ask you those questions, honestly. You got interesting life choices. But even people who are on Trump's side have been feeling the pressure of being in an abusive relationship. So, I mean, it's big. It's big. Stephanie says, here's a woo question. How can one support a family member going through their Saturn return? So someone who's going through an Aquarius Saturn return. So just like we talked about already, that Aquarius energy of being a fixed sign, but also air, can feel kind of stuck. So a Saturn return happens when we are about age 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, like it's all in that range. Someone who is going through a Saturn return is being asked, are you living the life that you came here to live? Saturn is the dad planet. Saturn is asking, are you doing that thing? How's the structure? Like, are you doing the thing that you said you were here to do? It's your destiny. So Saturn takes us by the shoulders during the Saturn return, which we have one in our late 20s, we have another one in our mid 50s, and we have another one up in our late 80s. The Saturn return shakes our shoulders and just says, like, are you doing that thing that you contracted to do, that you entered into a cosmic contract when you were born? Are you doing that thing? And so someone who's currently going through a Saturn return is being forced to look at life choices that have gotten them to this point and ask themselves, is this the life I want? Because if I stay where I am, I'm going to keep getting what I've been getting. But I have this opportunity where Saturn is going to be incredibly helpful at shaking things up. And so the question is, do I want those things to be shaken up? Do I want to shift? Do I want to take this opportunity to do things differently? And so how do we be supportive of that, especially with the Aquarius energy? We let them know that it won't always feel this stuck, and it won't always feel this stuck plus needing to move. And just to help them understand the difference between feeling the need to move for moving's sake versus I need to move because Saturn is in fact spotlighting that I'm not where I want to be. Oh, thank you, Epiphany. I love you too. Yes, Amanda can confirm with all the Scorpio, right? I know. I was on, I'm in this astrology mastermind meetup group. Mastermind may not be the right word, but I'm in this astrology community where we had a meeting. We had a meeting last night, and I'm the oldest by a lot in the group. And so there's all these beautiful people who are, you know, just they're young and learning what that Saturn return is and learning what the different things are. And there's a bunch of people who were in my little breakout room who have a lot of Scorpio, and they were talking about how, you know, I wish I could just let go of whatever the thing was. And I was like, no, you can't. You can't. You got all that Scorpio, you can't. So, I mean, and I say this as a Cancer who also cannot let go. Like Cancer, Scorpio, both water signs, cannot let go of shit. Taurus, not water sign, can't let go of shit. Pisces, the other water sign, they can let go of everything because as soon as it happens, it's over as far as they're concerned. It must be nice. Gary says, okay, Saturn return just way hit me in the gut and announced its arrival. So Gary, if you're having your second Saturn return, it's a bit like a midlife crisis. It's that moment of just, are you doing what you said you came here to do? And it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. But if you are able to go, I'm open to what this might mean, and being willing to let it change you, you don't have to fight it, you know, because it's gonna have its way with you one way or the other. Like Saturn return will have its way with you. Saturn has no chill. Saturn is not subtle. Saturn is one of the malefics, so that means it's one of the bad guys. And I hate to look at astrology in terms of bad guys and good guys, but Saturn will have its way with you. Yeah. And it also depends, Gary, on what else is where in your chart, how this lands. But right now, everybody who was born with Saturn in Aquarius is going through a Saturn return. And it doesn't have to be the whole time that Saturn's in Aquarius, which is like years, 3 years, maybe. Do I have that right? Maybe even longer than that. No, that's right. Like 3 years. I think that's right. I don't have my notes in front of me. But it does mean that the time that it is there, it is going to be making you twitchy. And then when it gets closer to the exact degree of your placement, of your natal placement, that's when it's like, boom. And you can even go back to planetwatcher.com, that website that I was talking about at the beginning of the broadcast. If you go to planetwatcher.com, you can see when it is going to, you can advance it and see when it's going to hit the exact degree of your natal chart. And that will be a flashpoint of energy in your chart, and you can just put that on the calendar and just count on it. You just count on it. Melissa says, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I hear you regarding Trump's widespread toxicity. I feel the shadow period as Mercury retrograde is nearing, staying open and holding space for myself and others. That's beautiful, Melissa. That's a great way to be. That is a great way to be. Brandon, do you find that there's a difference between North Node and Midheaven in terms of career, or can they work hand in hand? It's interesting, Brandon. I'm just now learning about North Node. That's nothing that my mom talked about. And so as the astrologer's daughter, I really have to go first with what I grew up learning with my mom. And, you know, things like Chiron hadn't been discovered when we were learning astrology. So there are just things that aren't talked about as much. North Node is one of those things that my mom didn't talk about very much. She also didn't talk about Midheaven very much, which is really interesting. And it's possible that she didn't talk about that stuff very much because of where I was age-wise and just developmentally, what I could possibly understand. So don't know. But from what I'm learning, Midheaven has way more on the career just because it is the cusp of the 10th house, and the 10th house is the career house. And so that dictates or guides what the energy is behind our career focus, our highest calling for our career. Whereas the North Node can be anywhere on our chart depending on where and when we were born. And that North Node is definitely where we're headed in terms of our evolution. And the South Node, of course, is our karma and where we're coming from. But it isn't as much career related unless your North Node is in your 10th house. I guess it also if your North Node is in your 6th house, that could be part of your career as well. My North Node is in my 6th house, and I am currently going through a very definite shift into more of the woo. My North Node is Pisces. So I'm very definitely shifting my day-to-day into more Pisces things, which of course then influences my career and my business, because everything that I do in my day-to-day is a part of my career, just because of how much my career is a part of my life and my focus, because of all the activity that's in my 10th house. I have a very busy, very, very populated 10th house. So my day-to-day is very much my career. For those who are like 6th, 10th, what's the difference? 10th house is like your higher calling, your career, your public facing business focus. 6th house is your day to day, like if you have a jobby job, as well as your house and home. House and home is also more 4th, but that's like family of origin. 6th house is like the day to day operations kind of thing, and also health. Let's see. Melissa, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Nope. Wait, that's posted again. We're having duplicate posts on the comments. Interesting. I wonder if this is part of the, well, hi Mercury, thank you for saying hello. But also I wonder if that's part of the glitch that was happening over there. Amanda has Saturn in house 2 over here. So that's your values. Amanda, that's your values. That's your stuff. You're very structured about your stuff. And like, yeah, the things that like define your value. We have matching drink holders. Ice lasts forever. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I love having iced drinks, and I got into having sippy cups with a lid because I had cats for so long, and of course cats get crazy and like to run around and throw things. So you have to keep stuff lidded. Oh my God! Now each of these comments has been posted half a dozen times. That's amazing. Okay, Mercury, you're cute. You're cute, Mercury. That's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah, like the comments just threw up and blew up. All right, you beautiful people, last questions before I sign off from this hour of random. Let me know. Again, if you want to join us in the dojo for 100 days of support and structure, speaking of Saturn and structure, around your creative career, the Getting Gear for the Next Tier framework looks like this, and we spend 100 straight days navigating all the places and supporting you fully in doing that work. You can join us at bonniegillespie.com/offer. Do it before 11 a.m. on Saturday, Pacific time, 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, and we can get you in time for our live Q&A tomorrow, because we do a curriculum live Q&A every 10 days for this live round. So there's one coming up tomorrow. Other things that you need to look out for. Let's see. We had some interesting astro happening in February. Just remember, Mercury's in retrograde almost the entire month, and almost all of the visible traditional planets are in Aquarius at once. So it's just going to be a lot of air energy, a lot of fixed energy. We're going to have some non-traditional love and values coming up. I will also be doing a live stream on Wednesday the 10th at 11:30. So same time as this one. So you can put that one on your calendar. And I'm also doing a live stream on Wednesday the 24th. That one's at 12 noon. So you can put those on your calendar. If you want my woo calendar, which has all, not just like when I'm doing live stream stuff, but all the woo, all the astrological stuff, all the like when's the full moon, when's the new moon, when's all the types of moon phases that help you plan your day in life like a superhero, like a superhuman. You can get those over at shop.selfmanagementforactors.com. Just head over to the woo-woo section there. Katie says, if I'm reading my chart right, I have lots of placements in my 6th house, which is also in Aries. We'll have to look at Bonnie's Astro Guide to see more about what that means. So Katie, just quickly what that means. Aries 6th house means you have a very fast, fiery, like impulsive energy around the day-to-day and the and your health and your day-to-day systems and your jobby job, if you have a jobby job that's different from your creative calling. And because it's Aries, it starts fast, it's impulsive, but it burns out fast. And so there might not be a lot of staying power for things that require discipline or long-term commitment. And I would take a look at what those placements are that you have there. So like if you have something like Saturn there, then that means you can do long-term commitment-y things, even though it's in Aries, and Saturn and Aries don't play nice with one another, but there are other factors that are involved in all that. But yeah, take a look. I've got lots of goodies out there. I've got, if you're into the woo and want to explore my stuff, I've got bonniegillespie.com/astro for things that you can pay me for, but I also have bonniegillespie.com/free astro with a dash between the free and the astro for things that you cannot pay me for. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Lenka, for dropping that link. Yes, woo woo is woo woo. I love it. Melissa says, another question. I was adopted. I don't have any info of my actual birth. I was given the birth date of November 10th as an estimate. Is there a way of finding out more about my chart? Yes, Melissa. So, November 10th, you know that you're a Scorpio, but what we do when we don't have the exact birthplace and time is there's a technique that's called, is it remediation? I wonder if that's the right word. That may not be the right word, but there is a type of chart that is done based off key events that have already happened in your life, because there are, let me see if I can find it. There are, hold please. I'm working on a spreadsheet right now. I'm trying to create a spreadsheet for y'all that has all of this on it. These are all the ages at which things happen in our lives astrologically. So at this point, we go through this change. At this point, we go through this change. Like, these are things that are happening for us all. Like, no matter where we were born, who we are, these are things that we all go through. Like, our this planet squares the natal placement of that same planet, whatever. You use that sort of information to determine if you were born with a day chart or a night chart. To determine, we may never know the exact moment that you were born, but we can narrow it down. We can get it down to, it's one of these 6 rising signs, because we eliminate the other 6 by just determining if you have a day chart or a night chart. And so that sort of information, there are astrologers who specialize in getting close just by using things that have already happened in your life to figuring out what that might have been. We will never know for sure. And in a way, there's great freedom in that, because then you don't have to feel as stuck to what some of those birth placements were. But it's also like, there's a question mark, and we don't like open tickets. We like to know, is it rectification? Is that what it is, May? Rectification. Thank you. Thank you. Rectification. So you need to find an astrologer, Melissa, who does rectification. Thank you, May. That is fantastic. Yes. And what a wonderful Mercury retrograde activity, because of the right? See if you can find an astrologer who does that. That will be incredibly helpful. Awesome. Excellent. And now all the comments are duplicate posting again. It is time to call it a day. All right, you beautiful people. I am going to get out in the wetness and do some workout in this amazing rainy Leo moon 8 numerology day. Yes, absolutely, my pleasure, Melissa. Good. Yeah, do sign up for the free astro stuff. There's a, what your birthday says about you. There's going to be some stuff that obviously we're not going to be able to nail down until you go to someone who does some rectification. Again, thank you, May. But still, there'll be stuff that when you go through the free training that Lenka has put the link here in Facebook, bonniegillespie.com/free astro. When you go there, there's going to be stuff that when you're watching those videos and looking at that workbook, you're going to go, this feels like me. This feels like how I love. This feels like how I judge, like, because all of those are represented by different placements. And so you'll start to suspect what is true for you. Awesome. All right, Andy, I will see you tomorrow. Can't wait. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Anna Maria. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Allison. Mwah. Love you, beautiful people. Be good to yourselves. Oh my God, how have we not hugged ourselves? Hug yourself. If you have not done that yet, do it now. Even if you have done it, do it again. Oh my God, words. Mercury, you're killing me. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the time in this West Coast. Love you, beautiful people. Stay ninja. Take care of yourselves and each other.